A developer hopes to bring a new life to 3 buildings once owned by a prominent black businessman, but one group doesn't agree with how the plan would tear them down. I got an inside look of the buildings and spoke with both sides about the proposal.
That's when it comes down to it's unfortunately kind of we're going to have to start and rebuild.
These 3 downtown buildings located at 7th and Quincy Avenue, right behind Evergy Plaza, are known as the Nick Chiles buildings. They were built in the late 1800s. Seth Wagner, CEO of AIM Strategies, says they hope to bring the area to new life.
We bought these buildings because we were tired of seeing them deteriorate, and we wanted to do something special, especially since the city's made such a big investment in the downtown plaza here, and we really wanted to deliver something.
Nick Chiles was a civil rights leader and a hotel owner. He moved to Topeka in 1886 and founded one of the top-selling publications to African Americans, the Topeka Plain Dealer.
Nick Chiles was not only historical in the black community, he was historical nationally. He was a political activist. He was also a businessman. And within 2 years, he pretty much gave the black community economic wealth. He was really big on education. So this was around the same era as the KTI, the Kansas Technical Institution, which was the first African-American vocational school west of the Mississippi. All of African-American culture was migrating here, right here in Topeka, and it was thriving. And these buildings are a representation of that.
Which is why Christine Smith and the Save the Nick Chiles Building Committee believe the buildings should be saved.
These buildings represent a place in time where African-Americans migrated here to Topeka and established a settlement, a community, a culture, economic wealth, and a place for their social networking to thrive.
AIM Strategies purchased the buildings in 2017. Wagner says the 2nd through 4th floors haven't been occupied since the mid-90s, causing deterioration.
You know, we had to have the entire top floor environmentally remediated because it was covered in bird droppings and there was dead pigeons everywhere. We got all the asbestos out of the buildings as well. I think one of the things with the buildings that's such a struggle is none of the floors above the first floor meet code at all.
Wagner says renovating the buildings would cost $3 million to $16 million. So they plan to demolish and rebuild with space for a restaurant, ice cream shop, courtyard, and an open air museum, paying tribute to Chiles.
We're hoping just, no matter what we do here, to just bring more awareness to what a great man he was, what a great Topekan he was. And, we've paid homage to the history of everything that we've done in redeveloping downtown and just want to continue that here.
But Smith says the changes would still erase Chiles' history.
So the property managers right now are going to the city council and proposing to demolish the buildings. And they have a responsibility to uphold the Landmarks Historic Commission's guidelines to preserve the buildings, and they have failed to uphold the responsibility to follow those guidelines.
The group is petitioning to save the buildings, but Wagner hopes they can reach a compromise.
I would say our efforts to work with them and meet with them haven't, not ended. If somebody can come up with the funding and it shows that they have funding to take care of these buildings beyond, what our acquisition costs and what we put into these buildings, we'd be glad to sell it to them if they feel they can, restore it.
You can learn more about the petition on our website at www.com. AIM Strategies plans to meet with Nick Chiles' direct descendants on November 19th. The company says that they're working with a Baylor University professor to tell Chiles' story and develop exhibits for the museum.
A potential buyer could be in place to keep a piece of Topeka history alive. We told you last November how 3 downtown buildings once owned by a prominent black businessman were in line for demolition. 13's Danielle Martin tonight is live. And Danielle, what's the update on this?
Melissa, that's right. International opera singer David Lee Brewer says that the Save the Nick Chiles Committee reached out to him about saving these 3 buildings, also known as the Nick Chiles buildings. He says that he's been in talks with AIM Strategies about purchasing them. Today, he saw them for the first time.
International opera singer David Brewer hopes to write a new verse for 3 downtown Topeka buildings.
It's just became real.
Awesome. Well, let's go inside. Let's
see
how it looks.
Brewer lives in Berlin, Germany.
On August 3rd, he was contacted by Oshara Hayes of Topeka to save the buildings from demolition.
I was kind of shocked because these buildings are very old. I didn't know that they were still here.
Now, Brewer has a personal connection to the fight to save the buildings. He's related to Topeka newspaper publisher Nick Chiles.
My fourth great-grandfather and Nick Chiles' father were brothers. So that's how I am related. It's like a first kind of cousin kind of basis. And I grew up hearing about Nick Chiles. My grandmother always talked about cousin Nick, cousin Nick, cousin Nick. But I never met him, of course, because he died in 1929. And it became pretty clear to me that tearing the building down was a direct violation of the rules. So I reached out to Cody Foster and started a conversation. And the design would hold true to Art Deco because Nick Chiles died in 1929, and so that's the period of Art Deco. So in honor of him, we want to keep the design Art Deco.
Brewer says he's excited by the possibilities.
We want to make the hotel a boutique hotel. And I'm kind of excited because getting into the building for the first time, I see that they have office space.
He says AIM Strategies has been very helpful through the process.
At the end, I'd shown him enough where he felt comfortable stopping the demolition and giving me the time to raise the capital. Because I have to not only raise the capital to buy the buildings, I also have to raise the millions that it's going to take to refurbish it and bring it back to life. So now we're going to go upstairs, and it'll be the first time that I actually see how many rooms I have as a possibility.
The Shawnee County Appraiser's Office shows the 3 buildings are appraised at nearly $145,000. Brewer says he knows refurbishing them will take time.
So yes, I do have viable options already kind of put in place. I won't give their names because that's not fair.
But he says the time and effort are worth it.
It's pretty clear to me that the buildings are stable. And why would you tear down something that's stable? Of course, it's going to take work to bring it back to life, but there's so much history in these walls. What I know about Nick Chiles, he was very interested in inclusion. It was just not for Black people, he was for people.
Now, Brewer is working with his 2 cousins on this project. AIM Strategies says that they are moving forward with that taco shop concept that they plan to have here at these buildings, but it's also going to be somewhere else downtown Topeka. AIM Strategies says that they're working with Brewer to support him in the ownership transition, but they were not asked to invest in his endeavor. Melissa, Ralph.
And we'll keep everyone posted on the progress of those plans. Danielle, thanks.